Well, hello there. Happy Tuesday. I'm so sorry I missed last week. I was traveling to New Mexico to see my parents, and we didn't get there in time, so I just didn't get to get it in. So I'm going to talk about some things that have been weighing on my mind, but first I'm going to do my short intro, and then I'll pop back on. So enjoy. I haven't changed the music. I'll talk about that in a second. So here we go. Well, hello there. I was trying to put my banner in there so you guys could see it because I'm working on some different things. And lately, and I've talked about it a little bit here and there. I'm going to try and put my phone up here so I can read some of the things I have to read because tonight's topic is about feeling stressed. So, and I've posted about it a little bit as well. So we have to remember that we are coming out of one of the hardest years of our lives, really. I mean, it's very bizarre, this whole COVID thing, and there's things still going on, and there's another strain, and yada yada. So what can we do? Because we are our own worst enemies. Okay, so it's kind of interesting because and I have to put these links in here later. I always forget, so somebody please remind me. Remember that if you can't hear me, and you have the closed captions on, that you just need to push the volume button on your Facebook thing, on your video thing, and then you'll be able to hear me. So feeling pressured. So so I took some of this stuff from, it's called alignwithin.com, and the author is Sonia Choquette. And then this was in there. So ego says, once everything falls into place, all feel peace. Spirit says, find your peace and everything will fall into place. So she wrote that. That's kind of cool. She is an internationally acclaimed lecturer, activist, and author with six New York Times bestsellers. So I tend to get my information from other places, and then I regurgitate it to you, and then we get to have a discussion about it. Oh, it's the kids. Hello. The Sharma kids. I love you guys. We'll have to discuss if I can see you this year. Okay, so the first thing is, what's the problem that we have? So the things that I've been going through lately, and next week, by the way, I have a request to talk about different types of insurances. Katie Joe, my friend who lives in Florida, has requested that. So I'm going to talk about that next week, what types of insurances you need. And I believe she asked about emergency room insurance. So that'll be a really cool, interesting thing for me to look up and research. So there's things I want to do in just changing and becoming different. Checking in from the Motor City. That's Detroit, right? Crazy woman. Hi, Maureen. It's nice to see you. Okay, so lately I've been feeling so COVID hit and everything, and I had like 5 houses go under contract right before, and so I was really busy during it, and it was really weird to go to like people's houses and have to wear masks and not know who they are, and then that kind of thing. And so I kept working continuously, and I had the times that we were mandated to stay home for like the week or two or whatever and stuff, but I've been continuously working, and it's still a weird, bizarre adjustment. And Phoenix, Arizona is such a rapidly growing city. I think 200 people move here a day, that it went from like, decent traffic to, oh my God, this is insane. It's worse than before COVID. So I'm feeling, so the reason why I'm talking about this is because, and I hope some of you are on here and you want to discuss some of this with me, because I feel a lot of pressure. I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I have some private groups that I am in charge of. I'm a leader of, and I haven't been posting in there. I haven't been posting on my regular thing, just sporadically. And I know I'm supposed to, but at the same time, I'm thinking, and I don't want to be a broken record, because I know I talk about it a lot, but it is a stressor. It's a stressor, and it's that negative self-talk that you get, that one gives themselves when they're in a situation like that. And then I say something like, well, I'm a failure if I don't post this certain amount of stuff and follow these algorithms and do the things, or I'm going to be a failure, or my business is going to fail, or something. And why can't it be that I feel confident enough with who I am and who I am as a realtor? I provide enough value. It doesn't, nobody should be like, oh my God, Katie only posted one story yesterday, she must be slacking, So it's like these weird rules and stuff that we have to get over. So Laura says, checking in from Albuquerque. Thank you. I know I was just in Cloudcroft, but I wasn't close enough there to see you. But hello, Laura. How are you today? So here's the deal. So we'll talk about this, okay? So as I said, she says, ego says, once everything falls into place, I'll feel peace. I think we've all fallen victim to this, where it's like, if I make this much money, then I can be happy, Spirit says, find your peace and everything will fall into place. So that's that, that quote, I think it's from Dr. Wayne Dyer, where it's like, once you change the way you think, the things around you start to change, or something like that, which is kind of incredible. Bunch of hearts. Thanks, Laura. Okay, so I'm probably gonna have to wear my glasses a little bit more today. So the thing is, we need to face ourselves and our fears and listen, because we know what's best for us, not anyone else. I'm going to take my banner off for a while because maybe I think that's distracting. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, so, and I've got this cool article, which please, somebody remind me, because like I said, I always forget. Okay, so, oops. Hang on. Hang on, I'm going to put something up here so that I can actually put this here and talk to you guys and not have things go crazy on my computer. Hello. Oh, I'm a crazy nutball. Can I just be organized for once in my life? So this is that negative self-talk. I need to stop it. I'm fine. So are you. It's not a big deal. And honestly, like, if I'm not making mistakes, it's not interesting, right? So, okay. So I got a comment. Let's see here. Positive vibes. Thanks, Laura. Exactly. Okay, so face yourself and your fears and listen. So here's the thing. You exhaust yourself with your own expectations, okay? So you put pressure on yourself to be a particular person. And Laura, I'm going to talk about this in a minute. Positive self-talk is part of it, but not exactly, because I'll talk about this later, because that'll come up, okay? Because that's what I've always thought, and it's not exactly what it is. Oh, Trisha, hi. This is your first Candor with Katie episode, I think. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so you put these pressures on yourself, and you think about these milestones, and you think about what's going to get me there. What do I have to do? And there's so many ways to live, and I feel overwhelmed, and there's so many possibilities. And do I want to take this path, or do I want to start this, or do I want to do a job? Do I want to change careers? Do I want to travel? Should I get another degree? It's that kind of thing. So it's frantically worrying about all of these things. Okay. So then other people tell you what to do. It's that kind of a thing. Okay. So Trisha says it is. Well, hello there. Sometimes they're funny. Sometimes I do cooking, which is a disaster, and DIYs, which is also a disaster. So those might be fun ones for you to join sometime. But kind of back to regular stuff. I can't see who's on here anymore unless you say hi. So that's kind of icky thing about it. Okay, so I'm really trying to make this happen here, and it's an issue. Let me move this and try this. Okay. All right. So let me go to the next one. Okay. So don't listen to others too much. Okay. So people will be telling you, you should be doing this. You should be doing this. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And you need to filter that out a little bit, because when you worry about what other people are thinking about you, you're searching for their validation, and it's just draining for you. Okay. So the thing is, most people aren't thinking about you. They're not thinking about you, what you do, what your problems, as much as you may fear anyway. So this is why I do these things like this, because these are the things I'm facing. Maybe you are too. Maybe this will help. Okay. So just don't listen too much, because people should be focused on their own lives and what's going on there. Okay. So we automatically think people are thinking about it, but we have to get that out of our head. Okay. Here's Summer. A therapist I actually liked, rare, suggested removing should from vocabulary. Hi, Summer. I haven't seen you forever. Oh, I watched the little Olympic things with you. I'm so proud of you. So yeah, I love that. So that's a great suggestion right there. Okay. So then we got the next one, which is allow yourself to feel what you need to. So a lot of the times we will fight our feelings and we will be like, I don't want to cry. I don't want to do this. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to be angry at this, but we spend a lot of time fighting them instead of recognizing for them for what they are. So only when you start facing that can you start to heal yourself a little bit, You don't need to run away from it. Okay, so then the next one is stop focusing on what could or should happen. And this is something that I do all of the time. So this is my therapy a little bit in a sense. So this author here, she says she's retraining her brain to relinquish control over what might happen or what could possibly happen in the future. So if I do this, this will happen, which you have to think about it in a sense, like, and plan stuff with logical things, but you can't predict how people are going to feel about stuff. And if you really want to do something, just do it. Okay. It's hot, you guys. I'm sorry. And my couch, I have a leather couch and I have to put a sheet on it. It's so unattractive. And I don't care because I'm the only one here, right? Here's the other thing you got to do. You have to remember that your self-worth starts with you. Okay. It does. We often rely on external things for our own self-value. Okay, so I say it a lot. I want recognition for work when I do well. Why? I don't know. Because since March of 2020, we haven't been back in an office and we're not planning on having an office. So it's weird. I'm feeling disconnected and it's difficult lately. Okay, so is that affecting my self-worth? A little bit. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Okay. Laura says, I didn't even know this. Well, because my big head's in the way. But if I move, what? I was going to take the sheet off and then I was like, screw it. These are my friends. And if you're not my friends, maybe you'll be my friends. Who knows? Okay. So, what we don't realize is that nothing will fulfill us if we don't first develop self-love. Okay. So that is really important. Okay. I'll take this comment off. Sorry, Laura. I just left it up there. I'm loving the comments, by the way. Thank you so much. And this is the big one that I work on all the time. Let it go. It always reminds me of that Disney, let it go, let it go. Once we can surrender our control over the future and stop believing we will be happy if or when something occurs, then we'll be okay, right? So we need to be okay with ourselves. So we need to enjoy the process and what we're doing along the way and not saying, having these negative thoughts and stuff. Laura Sarhouse. Okay. So, and then here is the last one on this one. Find an outlet. No, not literally a plug-in. Okay. But if you have no one to talk to about your family, your job, world pressure, there are many ways that you can release your feelings and frustration. So I'm reading off my phone here. One's through exercise. So I do the Highland Games. I just started doing Couch to 5K again this morning. I did my little artsy photo in my story. I'm not perfect. No. It's really funny because I don't know if most of you know this, but when I first got my real estate license, I was a teacher. So you know that, but I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody I was going to school. I didn't tell anybody I was doing anything until I knew that I was going to succeed and pass the test. And then I told everybody and everybody's like, what? And I was like, why did I have that? Why did I have that fear? Because it's perfectly acceptable to fail, because if you don't try, you'll never know. Okay, so thankfully it turned into a great thing for me and a great career and something I love and gives me freedom and not freedom because I do work a lot. So even though I was in New Mexico, I had to use my hotspot and I worked and stuff. So Laura, this is going to be interesting. My house is a disaster doing project for the summer. I constantly judge myself and tell myself I'm a slob, but really I'm not. I just have a lot of stuff. Okay, so super good point, Laura. Thank you for sharing that, because I actually bit the bullet. She says she just needs to be organized. And I got cleaners. So you may not think that looks really clean here, but it is. And I had to tell the cleaners, don't judge the sheet on the couch because it's just hot. It's leather. And so my summer months, I don't like it as much because it's darker in here. and I put sheets on the couch. I'm obviously sitting on that couch, and then this chair that my dad loves so much that is ugly, but I'm not going to turn it because I don't want to mess all this up. But so that's the thing. Why am I afraid someone's going to judge me, right? So find an outlet. So instead of releasing your frustrations out on people, sweat it out or run it out, whatever you got to do, okay? And then, I don't know if I put this one here. So Laura says, I am there, LOL. Exactly. So honestly, treat yourself. I actually got this from a friend, okay, who was like, why don't you just pay someone to come in and do a deep cleaning, and then you can reset stuff? Because I do have a lot of stuff as well. I don't know how a single person has so much stuff. So Summer says, Laura, I highly recommend the YouTube personality Clutterbug. Oh, amazing. Okay, so Summer, I'll check that in too. I'll check into that. So she says, well, I'm embarrassed to have cleaners. Oh, okay, but why? Why? Because who's living there? So that's the real thing. This is what I used to teach students, right? Who's living at your house? You are. So what the hell do you care what they think, right? I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing we have to get over, right? Okay, so this is interesting, and hopefully I can get through this quickly. But so Mark Messier said, the only pressure I'm under is the pressure I've put on myself. And that's really all of us, okay? All right, I'm loving the comments. So Laura says she'll look it up. Thank you, Summer. Okay, so the next one, I have another article that I used. Okay, hang on a second here. Sorry. Woo. If I can get there. All right. I don't know what's going on here. Hang on one second. I'm so sorry. Okay. So this is taken from a guy that writes this blog called Barking Up the Wrong Tree. And his name's Eric Barker, and he's got a tree. He's got a blog with the same name. And so I forgot to put this in here, but we're talking about rewiring your brain. It's hard to say sometimes. So the joke is this thing. How many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb? Just one, but the light bulb has to really want to change. Okay. So these are interesting concepts, and I'm kind of going quickly through them. Like I said, I only want to do 30 minutes or less because I think people get bored. Okay. But so you think about this, someone compliments you and you think they don't mean it, or you have to respond with, oh, it's the genes, or no, that kind of thing. Something good happens to you and you think, I don't deserve this. You're meeting new people and you think they're not going to like me. They're judging me, whatever it is. Okay. So here's the interesting thing. So he says, you usually accept these words because they're coming from inside your head. That's the problem. So this is taken from the confidence gap. But he says, think happy thoughts doesn't help unless you don't need help. So Laura, and I've done this a lot, and I've focused on that, and I've done meditations, and it's like positive thinking and this and that. And let me figure out how to be positive throughout the day. And then there's the adage of, you manifest everything. So it's you're in an abusive relationship or something tragic happens to you, and you think, but I didn't manifest this. And I'm really going to have to research this kind of stuff. But I feel like that kind of a thing is what we need to research, is how to bring yourself out of that. That's what that manifestation is, or that rewiring your brain, because we're not supposed to sit in a cesspool of negativity. Okay. So then Summer says she also has a show on HGTV called Hot Mess House. Okay. So I'm totally gonna have to check this out. I don't have IGTV, but maybe it's on Hulu or something. Okay. So this is important. Thinking happy thoughts doesn't help unless you don't need help. Isn't that interesting? So taken from the confidence gap, there was this study that they did, positive self-statements, power for some, peril for others, meaning people with low self-esteem actually feel worse after repeating positive self-statements such as, I am a lovable person, I will succeed, that kind of a thing. Rather than being helpful, these positive thoughts typically triggered a strong negative reaction and a low mood. And that's interesting, because do you think that's the same thing that I do? Because your words are very powerful. Your thoughts are very powerful. Your actions are very powerful. And I do say, and I used to teach kids, repeat after me, I am amazing. I am amazing. I'm amazing. So I don't know. Have I done some kids a disservice, and other people and myself? Maybe we have to be more specific. I don't know. Okay. So there's cognitive therapy. You can go to a therapist and do that stuff. Okay. So when you're feeling down, happy cliches won't cut it. So he says, we're going to science the hell out of this one. So he talks about this stuff. Okay. So it's like thoughts determine feelings. So he's saying challenging automatic thoughts is a powerful way to counter. Okay. So when you have that, they're not going to like me thing, you have to figure out a way to get yourself around that and not focus on that. Okay. So Brian says, if I do something silly, I self-talk. That was stupid, but it's more a joke in my head. I'm also the type to break out in random laughter. Yeah. And that's healthy, I think. I mean, we all do that. Like, oh, what an idiot. Like, I don't literally think I'm an idiot when I do something. You know what I mean? So Summer says, maybe it has to go in conjunction with cognitively disapproving the negative thought or deciding why that is an unreasonable assessment. Exactly. So Laura says cognitive therapy really works. So you've tried this, Laura, so that's good. So here's what it does. It says there's techniques, okay? So you can get some solid answers here. So cognitive therapy 101, thoughts determine feelings, which I just talked about. And it says, remember that, okay? Because it is the thing. So always trust your feelings. So Laura says, I struggle with body positivity. Yeah, I know what you meant. Yeah, I know. And then it's the thing, like, really, like, why, right? Why? Because you're an amazing, beautiful person. So, but I know what happens, And then me saying that is that it's not that I don't mean it, but what do you feel when someone says that to you? Okay. So Marcus Aurelius, who was the Roman emperor, right? If thou art pained by an external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs thee, but thine own judgment about it. And it is in thy power to wipe out that judgment now. So isn't that interesting? Right? So here's the deal. If you change your thoughts, you can change your feelings. So as Summer said, you have to find where that lies and what that truth is internally. Okay. So always trust your feelings. It sounds sweet, but you wouldn't tell that to someone with a phobia or a hoarding problem or homicidal impulses, right? And then this is funny. He says, teenagers and golden retrievers are excellent at blindly following their feelings, but neither are regularly consulted on their decision-making skills. So feelings are not truth incarnate. They depend on thoughts. So if you think someone's pointing a gun at me, I feel scared. Okay, let me get this out of here. Someone's pointing a gun at me, I feel scared. If I realize the gun is actually a water pistol, I don't feel scared anymore. So the thought determines the feeling. And this is a very powerful corollary to, if you change your thoughts, you can change your feelings. So he says your brain's a pattern recognition machine. It makes observations, starts forming rules about the world. Okay. So sometimes your brain makes errors with things like the time you got made fun of in grade school for doing a show and tell. Your takeaway is public speaking is terrifying and should always be ignored by me. Like, I will never do this again. Okay, maybe you're 8 years old. Okay, so Laura says people love not because of love you, probably because of my body, but my soul. Exactly. Okay, so Trisha says it's hard to take compliments, especially about my body and looks. My self-esteem has always been really low, even as a child. But thank you for sharing. Body shaming was a way to go by my parents, and I have never been able to stop the recording of what I've been told in my head. And that's really a strong statement right there, Trisha. Thank you so much for sharing, because one of the things we have to do, that's the let it go thing. We have to figure out where all these thoughts started, and we have to learn how to start getting rid of that, okay? And then facing the real things and how we really feel, okay? So then Laura says, if they really know me, they don't judge. Well, exactly. So why couldn't we just say, everybody looking at you knows the real you, should know the real you, right? So I don't know. It's weird. I mean, it's just, this is a deep, Laura says, thank you, Trisha. Yeah, that was a huge share. It's a deep topic. Okay. So automatic thoughts are usually negative, like the public speaking thing. So it would be great to have ones that told you how sexy you look. Okay. But instead, they're usually focused on avoiding discomfort. Okay. Like body positivity, let's say. Sometimes your brain is like an overprotective parent and makes rules that are way too general. So a good lesson is I should wear a coat before going outside. A bad lesson is I should never leave the house for any reason whatsoever. Okay, if it was cold outside, if it's cold outside, I should wear a coat. If it's bad, it's like I should never leave the house again because it's too cold outside. Okay, so common problematic rules include this. In order to be happy, I have to be successful in whatever I undertake, and I kind of do that myself, and I try to make that determination. So I'm gonna have to research this more to really figure out what the fine line is. Okay. So then you think, if my spouse or sweetheart, parent, child, whoever it is, doesn't love me, I'm worthless. It's not true. And to be happy, I must be accepted by all people at all times. That's something we need to rewire, okay? So those things in your head keep reading. Oh, okay. Replaying in your head. Yeah, well, and that's what they're talking about. That's what we need to get rid of, okay? So we get so used to these rules and their automatic thoughts that we don't even notice them anymore. And that's the thing. We need to start consciously recognizing in our heads, this is what I'm doing, okay? So what do? Well, the first thing you do, the first step is to listen. Okay? So you say to yourself, you ask yourself in a situation, what automatic thoughts led up to these feelings? What unspoken rules are they supporting? And how true is this? Okay. So if you're going to let this thought determine our happiness, it's better to have a lot of, he says, taking it to court. So an automatic thought might be, nobody likes me. Okay. A deliberate thought might be, oh, really? So ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I would assume that a survey of all 7 billion people on the planet has been performed for this such statement. Okay. So in order for it to be accurate, it's too much of a blanket statement. Nobody likes me. So then he says, then I submit it to you, should not be entered as evidence into this courtroom. It's an opinion, okay? So the distinction between, like the example that I gave from this, of the gun, somebody's pointing a gun at you, you're fearful until you find out it's a water gun, and then you're not fearful anymore because you know what it is, okay? So an opinion that's subject to validation, okay, I believe is an opinion that is subject to validation, and I know is an irrefutable fact. So like the scary gun becomes an innocuous water pistol, and then your fear vanishes. I hope this is making sense because it's a lot of deep information, right? So new video of me rocking it. Oh my gosh, I got kind of lost on that one. You'll have to explain it to me because I start talking and then I'm like, what? Okay, so the first step is to listen, and then to do this, what automatic thoughts are doing. And I believe that's the gun thing. So I believe is an opinion that's subject to validation. So I'm terrified of this gun because I'm seeing it pointed at me. I know is an irrefutable fact. It's a water gun. So now I'm no longer scared. Okay. So we need to start being able to identify the types of errors that we make. So like this, filtering. This is when you focus on the negative and ignore the positive, okay? So when you focus on the negative, ignore the positive. It's like, okay, if you win a free Ferrari, you're going to think in your head like, oh, the payments are going to kill me and the insurance is going to be too much. Okay? So instead of thinking that, change your focus to the legitimate good aspects of the situation. Force yourself to list all the positives. You're not just thinking happy thoughts, you're actually trying to balance the scales and be objective. Okay? The world isn't always out to get you, right? The next is polarized thinking. So seeing everything as black and white. If you're not perfect, you're a failure. This is something I struggle with because I take on a lot of challenges. I take a lot of risks. I do a lot of things. I do the positive self-talk. I'm like, I am going to be the best. I am going to do this, okay? I feel like a failure if I'm not doing what other people tell me I'm supposed to be doing in order to be successful. Ferrari, my first thought was all tracks I could take it to. Yeah, for you, you'd be like, hell yeah, that's the best thing I could have won, right? So if people don't love you, they hate you. If winning a silver medal in the Olympics makes you a loser, that's polarized thinking, right? You made it to the Olympics. So how do we attack this one? We realize that seeing the world as black and white is inaccurate and unrealistic. I wish life was that simple because it's not, right? So correct this tendency by making yourself evaluate the percentages. What percent? 80% of this is awful. 20% is pretty good. Okay. Oh, sorry. Scary. Okay, so the next one is, sorry, this one's taking a little longer. Overgeneralization, making broad conclusions based on little evidence. One breakup means no one will ever love me. And I think a lot of us have been guilty of that, right? All, every, none, never, always. Those are the words that we shouldn't be using. So one instance doesn't make a trend. Okay. One person was an asshole to you. One guy was an asshole to you. Not all guys are assholes. I mean, I haven't had the best experiences with some guys, but I don't think all guys are assholes. I don't. Sorry to disappoint. All right, here's the next one. Mind reading. This is when you assume you know what others are thinking or feeling. So Sarah's frowning, so she obviously hates me. Okay. You're not psychic. You don't know what they're thinking. How do you beat this one? He says you want to generate alternatives. So why else might Sarah be frowning? Okay. Maybe she didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Maybe, somebody said something to her that didn't make her happy, or, she didn't finish a project. So she says having a degree from a state college is not worthy for me. Are you kidding me? You gotta reframe that right now. What's the 80% positive, the 20% negative? It's not true. And I can just say it's not true, but ultimately, here's the deal. You have to take that initiative in yourself. And that's the hard part, right? So we can help you and we can coach you and we can say all the things, but you're the one that ultimately has to make that decision to reframe your thoughts. You know why? Because it's healthier. And we all, when you're right from within, you're right from without, right? So we're okay. So the next one is, all right, hang on a second. I saw somebody come up, but catastrophizing. Did you forget your keys? Then you must have Alzheimer's. When you always jump to the worst possible scenario, that's catastrophizing. Or it's a tumor, right? I don't have a tumor. So you always jump to the worst possible case scenario. So you conquer these thoughts by being a bookie. Assess the odds. If you had to bet real money, would you raise? Oh, geez. Okay, hang on a second. Do you really have Alzheimer's, or was it just something that you did? I don't know what this example is here. You conquered catastrophizing by being a bookie. Assess the odds. If you had to bet a real money, that one doesn't make sense to me. Sorry. The next one is magnifying, which means every molehill becomes a mountain. You know what that means? A lot of people do that. So Laura says, yes, but in hindsight, I did it. I finished it. But I take up those thoughts. Yeah. So, hey, guess what? This is the show for you today, because this is what you got to work on. Okay. Yeah. Catastrophizing. I never heard that word. It's an interesting word. All right. Magnifying means making a molehill out of a mountain. Okay. So it's a tragedy of Shakespearean proportions. Here's the plan of attack. Remind yourself of specific examples of when you handled situations that were far worse. Okay. It's not overwhelming and unbearable. It's just a long line at the grocery store. I got to do this with traffic because it drives me bananas. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. I have to leave 45 minutes early for everything. So 7 is personalization. This is when you assume everything people do or say is some kind of negative reaction to you. So this is that thing I was talking about 2 weeks ago when it was knee-jerk reactions. I didn't do that. I didn't say that, which, by the way, that was blocked on YouTube because I used a Saturday Night Live video. Dang it. From YouTube. So you don't want to generate. So to generate alternatives with this one, most things are not about you. It's not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not about you. It's not about you, and not in a bad way. It's just that just because somebody's doing something doesn't mean it's against you. Okay. So that's what the interesting part. So it says, yeah, you're important to family and friends, but I'd lay odds on it right now that in 50 years, public schools won't be open on your birthday, especially mine because it's in the summer. So, and here is the last one of this. Shoulds. Shoulds are rules you make about how other people or the world is supposed to behave. So people should drive like this. They shouldn't talk like that. I talked about that earlier a little bit. Okay. So I should always be the best. I should always be perfect for my friend, my parent, my spouse. I should never get upset or feel hurt, and a zillion other things that nobody can ever live up to. Okay, so here's what you do. You're not in charge of the universe, so stop accepting that you have to do everything for everybody else's benefit. People aren't frustrating you. Your absurd expectations are. Whoa. Okay. Your values are personal. So shoulda, woulda, coulda is something that we need to get rid of, right? It's kind of crazy. I have more stuff, but it's already been 35 minutes. Doing algorithms. I know, right? So if you're going to rewire, let's see if I can go through something here. All right. So, okay. Hey, so what do we need to do? So we need new thoughts to replace the problematic ones. So what do? You keep listening for those automatic thoughts now that you know how to identify it. Then you got to, this is funny. Then you got to catch the puppy when it's pooping on the carpet. This is how your brain trains dogs and how you rewire your brain. Okay. So things like this. Phil's late. Your brain says, clearly Phil has died in a car crash. Best thing to do is engage in a profound anxiety and hysteria. You say, whoa, that sounds like you, because you recognize this. You say, whoa, that sounds like catastrophizing. This is what I learned about on Candor with Katie. And then you say to yourself, the likelihood of Phil having died in a car accident is probably quite low. And then your brain finally says, fine. I'm not going to worry about this much. Okay. So you just have to keep correcting the puppy, right? It's not to accept its automatic responses as gospel. And then people are rarely late because they died. They're late because of something innocuous that isn't worth getting upset over. So keep correcting the puppy and eventually your carpet's poop free, which I love. Okay. So you live most of your life inside your head. Make sure it's a nice place to be. I'm almost done. So sorry, 40 minutes on this one almost. Okay. So Laura says, I am listening. Thank you. Thanks for joining me tonight, you guys. This was great. It's something I'm working on. I don't have all the answers. I'm not an expert. These are things I'm constantly working on. I'm thinking about how to improve myself all the time, how to get rid of negative self-talk for myself. Not assuming how I think other people are perceiving me. And really, why do we care? Right? I mean, we really put too much value on that, right? So realize that you're only human, that you're here for a reason, that you've got this, that you can redirect your thoughts and rewire your brain to accept all of these things. You're a great speaker, amazing topic. Thank you, Trisha. You just made my day. So I do. Thanks, Trisha. So hopefully you'll keep joining me, because sometimes, like, I was doing these more serious ones, and then I want to put in goofy ones. So next week, because I have a request, which is awesome, please give me requests, message me, post it, whatever, and I'll do research and do these, which I love. Okay. And just remember that, and tell me if you think I'm doing you a disservice. I mean, you are amazing, right? You are amazing. You can do anything. So you can also get rid of these self-destructing thoughts and not be so consumed with them, because it's going to get in the way. So Brian says, why do we care? That's something I constantly wonder. Then I stop caring and go fishing. Boom. Hey, that's a good answer. So Laura says, thanks for being open. Well, thank you guys. Thanks. And you know what? I worry. I do, believe it or not. I know some people see, this is my thing where I'm like, oh, some people probably think I'm intimidating, or some people probably think I'm over the top, or some people probably think this, or some people know I'm caring, or, blah, 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 blah. But I'm always hopeful that a lot of the times it's something I'm thinking about, or somebody I know it's going through it. If it's me, I'm going to admit it to you. So I thank you for joining me and participating, because that makes my day. And remember that I love you, and that I'll see you next week. And it will be about insurance, and then maybe I'll make it fun, but peace and love always. Okay. Love you. And I'll see you next week. Okay. For sure. I won't skip anymore. Da, da, da. Oh, I see a comment. Sorry. The people that truly matter know you are a bet. Boom. Thanks, Brian. Muscles. Love you guys so much. I'll see you next week.